Now it's time to turn this into a full skeleton by mirroring. We'll start by selecting the parents of our bones, in this case arm R, which contains all of the bones for the forearm, and shift-click select leg R, which contain all the bones for the leg. The default shortcut key is the divide key on the keypad, or you can go into Setup and under the Items sub-tab select Copy and then just click Mirror to mirror them across. Let's highlight IK hand R and hold down the Shift key and highlight IK foot right. We'll mirror those across as well. So all of our bones should now be mirrored. All of the mirrored bones have a R_1 instead of an L, which means left side in our naming convention. So we need to change the R_1s to L's. We can just do that one at a time, or we can have the computer help us. So under the Items sub-tab under Copy, look for Select Items. I'm going to type in the text here, R_1. I'll click on the blank button to the far right of the text field, and that will select everything with an R_1, which just happens to be everything that we've mirrored. Now, under the Select Items pull down, go to Rename Item. We're going to replace everything with an R_1 in this field with an L. Set the search to include selected items and punch Replace. Now everything has been named to wrist L. We'll see that on IK wrist and IK wrist_1 we didn't name those properly. So we'll just take the time and do that right now. So IK wrist R, double click on IK wrist_1 to be L. Everything else should be named the way we want it to. While we're in perspective view, let's load the full mesh. Go to the File tab and look for a gray spherical icon which represents the mesh. Under Multiply Items, replace that mesh. It'll bring up a file search. We're going to go out of the Scenes folder into the Objects folder and load Dane.obj, which will load the whole mesh. Click into Setup, then back out again. The mesh will be attached to our full body. Now if we click on this arm, we can move it up and down. And click on this arm. Oh, nothing's moving. Well, that's because we don't have our expressions mirrored across to match the left side. Well, that one's fairly easy to do too. Click into the Command tab, and each of these needs to be named L and need to be mirrored across. So we'll start with the top one. Go to the Variables tab. We'll copy this variable. You'll see it says an R_1. We'll change that to L, and under the expression, change everything that has a 1R to L. Hit Enter, and you can watch something change in the 3D view. The same thing for the next expression. We'll copy that, take the R_1 version, change that to L, and everything under the expression change to L. There's a big advantage to having actual pieces of code that you can edit, because you can complete with all of the bones and skeletons and expressions to move those bones around, and then just spend time copying those expressions and naming them to different names. IK foot right, we'll copy that one. This R_1 will change to L, toe R to toe L, and just mirror everything across. We'll copy that. Wrist L. You can see that it starts snapping too once I hit Enter to activate the expression. L, wrist L, L. Done. So now we've set up all of our expressions for the left side. It wasn't too hard, was it? Let's do a little cleanup here. There are some parts of the controls that we won't ever need to use. For example, on the back, we're not going to need to translate anything. So while we're in Setup, let's toggle off all of the X, Y, and Z translates. The hips need to translate back and forth because they're parent to everything. But back one, and click in the Move button and right mouse click to turn off the views. Won't need to translate. Same thing with back two. Turn off XYZ translate. Middle mouse click on the neck. Turn off XYZ translate and the head. Same thing with the arm R and leg R. Switch to perspective view here. This is the parent to everything underneath the arm, and it can rotate the arm. If we go into the Animate tab and bank that arm, it'll bank the whole shoulder. That's the only control we really need, so we can turn everything else off except bank. We can also turn everything off inside the Animate tab. So we can right mouse click and hide heading and pitch and hide X, Y, and Z. Same thing with arm left. Turn off the translates and hide everything but the bank channel. Same thing with the tail. Turn off the translates. Let's leave all the rotates on because it needs to rotate in all of the axes. And just to be sure, let's double check on our IK ankles on the back. We won't need to translate on X and Y, but we can translate on Z. We never use rotate on that, so all that will be left visible is the Z translate. We've already turned off all of the channels except pitch on control ankle. Same thing with control wrist. So all we're left are channels that are only the channels that are necessary for this character. Go to File. We're going to save this scene as DogSetupG.